All right, so imagine this. You're trying to put together some new furniture, maybe a bookshelf or something, but the instructions are just awful.
Oh, yeah.
You've got like diagrams where half the parts are missing, and
Right.
then maybe there's a video tutorial, but it's in another language.
Mhm.
And to top it all off, you've got a friend on the phone trying to walk you through it, but they're giving you totally different instructions. It's
Yeah,
frustrating, right? Like, how are you supposed to make sense of all that?
totally. We were bombarded with information from everywhere these days.
Exactly.
It's amazing how good our brains are at sorting through it all, though.
Right. But what about AI? Can AI handle that same level of like information chaos?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's what we're diving into today with this research paper called BABELBENCH, an Omni benchmark for code-driven analysis of multimodal and multi-structured data.
Catchy title.
Don't worry, we'll unpack all that jargon in a sec.
So basically, BabbleBench is kind of like a giant obstacle course for AI.
Okay, I like that analogy.
It's designed to test if AI can actually understand and use information when it's coming from all these different places, not just like words on a page.
So instead of feeding AI nice, neat sentences, BabbleBench is throwing in images, tables, even audio snippets.
Exactly. It's all jumbled up, just like in the real world.
And why is that so important?
Well, because in the real world, problems don't come with nice, tidy data sets. You know, think about like medical diagnoses. Doctors have x-rays, they've got patient histories, lab results. It's like piecing together a puzzle with all these different pieces.
Mm.
And that's what BabbleBench is trying to see if AI can do that kind of complex analysis with different types of information.
That makes a lot more sense. So how does this obstacle course actually work? Do they like sit an AI down at a tiny computer and be like, all right, impress us?
Well, not exactly.
So?
It's not quite that dramatic.
Right.
But BabbleBench does present a series of tasks, and each one uses a combo of different things, maybe an image and a table,
Hmm.
or a text snippet and a diagram.
So can you give us an example? Like what kind of challenges are we talking about?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's one that really stood out to me in this paper. They showed an AI a picture of a busy road at night, headlights, the whole bit. And then they gave it a table of data with traffic volumes at different times of day. And the AI had to figure out what time the picture was most likely taken.
Wow.
It's not just about recognizing what's in the picture, but also understanding the numbers in the table and connecting the two.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it takes perception logic, even a bit of common sense, all those things that we kind of take for granted.
Yeah, for sure.
And there was another one where they gave the AI a music score and a frequency chart and asked it to calculate the combined frequency of the notes in a specific bar. It was like next level music theory.
Oh, wow. I would have been totally lost.
Right. So we're talking about a really wide range of skills here. Perception, like counting objects in an image, spatial reasoning, like understanding how things are laid out, and even OCR, optical character recognition,
Which is basically...
teaching AI to read text from images.
Wow. Okay, so they're really putting these AI systems through the ringer. Okay, so we've got AI trying to like decode rush hour traffic and analyze Beethoven sonatas.
It's pretty wild,
It
right?
is. But what did the researchers actually find? Did any of these AI systems like ace the test?
Well, that's the thing. Even the most advanced AI out there, like ChatGPT-4, still has a ways to go.
Really? So even the AI superstars are struggling a bit.
Yeah, it really shows you how tough it is to create AI that can actually match what our brains can do, like that flexibility and nuance of human intelligence.
Right. It's one thing to process all this different information, but it's another thing entirely to understand how it all fits together.
Exactly. That's the real challenge. And it's a huge leap in AI development.
The paper did mention that AI was better at some tasks than others, though. Were there any interesting patterns there?
Yeah, actually, one of the more surprising findings was that a lot of these AI models were better at handling images than they were at handling tables of data.
Really? I thought tables would be easier for them. You know, everything's all neat and organized.
You'd think so, right? But it seems like AI might be approaching tables more like a bunch of individual data points instead of seeing the bigger picture.
Interesting. So it's almost like we humans can intuitively grasp the structure of a table and how all the data relates to each other, but AI might be missing that intuitive leap.
That's a great way to put it. It's like trying to understand a joke by just analyzing the individual words instead of getting the humor behind it.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're saying is it's not just about building AI that can process information, but about understanding how AI thinks differently from us.
Exactly. And that's what makes this research so fascinating. It's not just about making AI smarter. It's about figuring out how its thought process works.
Okay, so give me an example. What were some of the specific challenges that these AI systems ran into?
Well, one thing that really seemed to trip them up was images that were unclear or ambiguous.
Makes sense. I mean, we've all
Mhm.
taken those blurry photos where even we can't tell what's going on.
Right.
I actually have a funny story about that. I once showed an AI-powered photo app a picture from a camping trip, and it confidently identified this blurry blob as a rare two-headed bear. Turns out it was just my backpack leaning against a tree.
That's
And
hilarious.
I couldn't tell what was going on in that photo.
Exactly. And it seems like AI can sometimes overcomplicate things too, like choosing a super complex solution when a simpler one would have worked.
Right.
And another big hurdle was connecting information between different sources, like being able to match data from a table to specific things in an image.
So we've been talking about AI having trouble connecting the dots between like a photo and a table.
Right, like matching up the information.
Yeah, exactly. But how does this all actually affect us regular folks? Why should we care if AI messes up on a blurry picture or a spreadsheet that's too complicated?
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's easy to geek out on the technical stuff,
Right.
but the really cool part is thinking about what all this means in the long run.
So how does BABELBENCH translate into real-world impact? Give us the big picture.
Okay, so imagine a world where AI can analyze your investments, look at your portfolio,
Okay.
and then it can also track like local weather patterns using satellite images.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, it can even read through news articles to give you personalized financial advice.
Okay. Now that's an AI assistant I could get behind.
Right.
No more spending hours trying to make sense of the stock market and weather reports.
Exactly. And it's not even just about making things more convenient for us. This research could be huge for things like healthcare.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, AI could help doctors diagnose diseases way earlier and with more accuracy. Or think about transportation self-driving cars that can actually navigate tough situations like we do because they understand what they're seeing.
That's incredible. But like we've been talking about, AI still has a long way to go. So where do we go from here? How do we bridge that gap between how AI thinks and real human understanding?
Well, one thing that's clear is we need to teach AI to think more like we do.
Okay.
It's not enough to just bombard these systems with data. We have to find ways to help them see those connections, the context behind the information.
So instead of expecting AI to just figure out our messy world, maybe we need to meet it halfway.
Exactly. It's a two-way street.
Mhm.
We might need to come up with clearer ways to label data, use more standard formats, or even create new tools that help AI connect the dots between what it sees and what it reads.
This is blowing my mind.
Hmm.
We started with AI trying to figure out rush hour from a picture, and now we're talking about changing how we talk to machines.
I know, right? That's what I love about this field. Every answer just leads to more questions. BabelBench isn't the end goal. It's like the launch pad for a whole new era of AI.
And for our listeners who are now just as fascinated by this as we are, we'll make sure to include a link to the BabbleBench website in the show notes. You can even check out some of the AI obstacle course challenges yourself.
It's pretty amazing to see how complex these challenges are.
It really makes you appreciate the power of our own brains while also getting excited about what AI might be capable of in the future.
Absolutely.
And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be inspired to make the next big breakthrough in AI. Because as we've learned today, this field is full of uncharted territory just waiting to be explored.